Hey, thanks for tuning in to That Husband podcast. On today's episode, we have the privilege of being joined by Koketso Molaolwe, and we speak about him being an A-type personality, A-type leader. And how does that look like for him in his marriage? How does he live, lead, and love his wife? Secondly, we speak about him being a prominent figure and a leader. How does he merge those two worlds? And obviously, there's going to be clashes, but how does he navigate that? Him being a pastor and being a married man. And lastly, how does he make sure that he prioritizes his wife, his family, over all the other areas that might demand much of him? All of this on today's episode. Hey, what's up? Welcome to That Husband Podcast with me, Black Newborn. Here we are husbands who aren't where we want to be, but certainly are not where we used to be. We are imperfect, always failing forward, trying to know better so that we can do better. Hey, I know this looks a little bit different. We're going to get back to the show shortly. We just have great news for those who have subscribed to our channel. Meaning, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe now so that you can be part of the news, be part of our community here. But we have a new show coming onto the dream space called The Dopest Variety Show. Like anything dope, let it speak for itself. The dopest variety show.
Dopest variety show.
Dopest variety show. Dopest variety show.
A variety show's dead. Who killed them? Not so fast, because we bringing them back bigger, bolder, and better than ever.
Sure. So the evolution of the why behind my poetry has been so interesting. I've been writing for the past, I think, like 12 years. And initially it just came as this catharsis of the soul.
Growing up is that nobody knows what they're doing. Perfection is actually unattainable.
Some of my aunties were talking about the reason why Black Americans, because that was before they were African Americans, but Black Americans have long hair is because the air is different. So the hair is just long.
Like Focalistic, for example. His full artist name is Focalistic Cataclysm. Obviously, that's not the name on his ID. Can you imagine a mom giving birth and the doctor coming up like, what are you gonna name this child? Focalistic Cataclysm.
Welcome to the show that revives the magic of the 90s with a modern twist, where retro vibes meet fresh perspectives and classic entertainment collides with today's conversations. Buckle up for the ultimate experience because the next big thing is here. Welcome to the Dopest Variety Show.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to That Husband Podcast with me, Black Newborn. This is where husbands try to know better so that we can do better. The husband that's sitting across the table from me today is none other than Koketso Molaolwe.
Yes, sir. I like
Sir.
that. I like that buy us a coffee thing. I'm stealing it.
We fist bump here. How you doing, brother?
No, man, I'm good. I'm good. Are you well?
Good, man.
No.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure.
That husband.
Yeah.
No.
We're going to hear what you have to say to us.
Man. Phew. Yeah. I hope my wife will not be watching this.
Yeah.
Like, you're saying all the nice things there. You're not doing them yet now.
Listen, we say our tag is husbands who try to know better so we can do better. We're failing forward.
There you go.
And we're taking it a day at a time. Before we get into it, we're compiling a resource where we're putting husbands' names in a book.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to make this book available for free.
Oh, wow. Nice.
For husbands who don't enjoy the benefit of community, they don't have brothers around them, they're walking alone, but also younger guys who are afraid of getting married because of bad examples or PR that's been bad, for marriage. And so we want to encourage them to say that, again, there's husbands who are not superheroes, but men who are failing forward, who are taking accountability, who are showing up, and so these guys are not just stats or just mystical characters that we talk about. They're actually real, and how do we then put those names in this book? We ask our guests to give us two names of husbands who either inspired you to get married or who inspire you to stay married now.
Sure, amazing. Yeah, I like the concept.
Cool, man.
You guys are killing it. You guys are creative, eh? I'm like, no, man, I like that.
So who are those two husbands for you?
I think for me it will be the guy we're talking about, Bam Sipa. You know,
Shout outs, man.
he's a guy who just kind of like I look up to how he's loving his wife, how he's loving his family, he's doing ministry well.
Yeah.
You know, I look up to him, and that's incredible.
Yeah.
And I think that the unlikely source of inspiration for how I'm doing marriage now is my dad, who was never married to my mom, and had an affair with my mom.
Sheesh.
And he had a family.
Sheesh.
And the fact that I grew up in the struggles that I grew up in, I look at that, I'm like, I want to do everything he did not do.
Sure.
You know, I want to be a better husband to my family. I don't want my kids, you know. We have a good relationship. We talk and everything like that. But I look at that, I was like, this guy did not do it well. I'm going to learn from that.
Sure.
You know, and so it's not the negative, you know, I'm looking at it. I'm like, you know what? Pops didn't do it well. It could have been done better. Let me seek a better way of doing it. Yeah.
Sure. What about Pastor Jacob? That you know, he loves his wife. He's there for his kids.
Yeah.
What are some other things, just husband to husband, that you look at him and say,
he celebrates his wife, man.
Yeah.
Like you know, he actually says to his congregation, you can mistreat me. I can take that. But I will not handle you mistreating my wife.
Sheesh.
So just how he creates platform for his wife, how he amplifies, you know, her voice and her position in his life, in their ministry, and how he allows her to be who she is, you know, and you know, and the respect he has for her, and just the love, you can see it, you know, how they really just they exemplify what loving each other is, and how he prioritizes her, you know. Man, just looking at them like, this it's
great, man.
It's
great,
incredible.
man.
It's incredible.
We share a similar thing in terms of our dads. Part of why I created this podcast as well is that, you know, my dad separated from my mom when I was 15. And then they officially divorced when I was in first year. But the first 15 years, man, that guy was a hero. You know, present, loving. At a time when, you know, I was literally the only kid in my extended family, in my community where we stayed, who had a dad, you know, first 15 years of my life, you know. And so I just saw who he was, how he loved us, how he cared for us, how he took us to church. And then literally 15 years, I remember the whole thing just ending, just crumbling, you know. And I look back and I'm like, hey, man, how do we prevent those kind of stories and narratives in people's lives?
I can imagine just being the only
in
the community, and you get your sense of identity out of that, you know. Sometimes you brag about it, you know, like I have a dad, and 15 years go, then comes crumbling down. That.
You know, such a prominent community leader. He had younger men around him, so he used to just be part of a lot of things, you know. And one significant thing was drum majorates. And so he had a whole lot of young adults, you know, guys who didn't grow up with fathers, who looked at him as a father. And so for me, as a young boy seeing that, I'm like, man, that's what it means to be a man. You know? And
that's my dad.
That's my dad, right? That's how we're supposed to be. You know? And I think contrary to popular belief, when a dad leaves, people would tend to think that you go the opposite way. You know, you rebel, you become full of rage, and you hate marriage. But for me, man, I wanted to get married even more. You know, when my parents separated, when my dad left, and I was like, no, I need to not have that story as part of our family's legacy. You know,
I guess ultimately you decide what you want for your own life. You know?
I remember we were at a breakfast in Pretoria. At a church, and Rory, you know, sat all of us around, and you know, Rory just moves from 0 to
very quickly,
150 very quickly. It's like, hey man, I'm still just eating my croissants, and now we have to get deep, right? But group of us men, right, around, and he said, "What's the one word that comes to your mind when you think about your dad?" I don't remember what your word was.
I think it was absent. That was my word, absent. He was just not there.
Sure.
You know, I actually just in general grew up without a father figure at all, until I was maybe I was in high school, where my uncle then moved in with us. And it's incredible that we didn't stay too long with him, but just that short time he was there, it changed my life. Changed my life in this way. I was a club DJ. Right? And I did everything club DJs do. Yeah. You can still see you're like, I was club DJ doing everything club DJs do. I was not a Christian DJ. I was a DJ. And he was a pastor. And he was just this father figure. And one morning I come from the club. And I'm drunk, man. I'm drunk. It's 5 a.m. in the morning. And he's praying outside the house.
No way.
God, this is not good for me.
Sheesh.
I need to get in the house. I'm tired. And this guy is there praying, And as I come closer, he calls me. He's like, come here. And now I stand there and I'm trying to kind of like compose myself to act as if, trying to put that stance. And he says, man, God says I must tell you that one day you're going to be a pastor. Right?
You were like...
I'm like, no.
Yeah, sure.
You must be drunk.
What house song is this?
I'm like, maybe
I'm still high.
What I drank today was just too much. I was like, whatever I had today, I must stop drinking it because it's strong. But man, he spoke the destiny out of me when I looked nothing like it.
How old are you at that point?
I was like, 14?
No way.
Yeah, I was like 14 years old.
Sheesh.
And he's like, God says you're going to be a pastor. I'm like, can you see how I look and smell? You know where I come from? You know what I just did? And he says, Dad, that's what God said.
Wow.
I'll never forget that. When I look at what's happening in my life right now.
Is he still alive?
No, he passed on, unfortunately. Okay. So the importance of having fathers, it was incredible, man.
Sheesh, man.
It was that moment. He's never given me not even a cent.
Wow.
Yeah, because he was not wealthy or anything.
He's
never. He hasn't done like material things. Nothing. He didn't have a lot.
Yeah.
But man, that one encounter changed my life.
Oof. Crazy.
Yeah, no,
crazy.
It took a couple of years for it to materialize.
Yeah, sure.
But man, I look at where I'm at. I'm like, God saw this when I looked nothing like it.
Yeah. That's great, man. Yeah. You reconciled with your dad.
Yeah, I did.
How was that? Who initiated the thing? And I ask because for me, that's still a pain point,
Yeah.
My father didn't even come to my wedding. I invited him. And because we kind of sit on opposite sides when it comes to God. He was just like, yo, man, I'm not going to endorse any other stuff that you're doing. Sure. And I was like, hey, I think we haven't had a relationship for a very long time. Yeah. This is a big step in my life, pull through. And he said no. And I think the last conversation I had with him was when the year before my daughter was born. Yeah. And I went to him and I said, listen, you didn't come to the wedding. Yeah. I'm having a kid. You're going to be a grandfather. I think we need to iron out stuff. Sure. And that was the first time I poured out my heart concerning everything that's happened from the time he left, And I mean, I spoke, man. Yeah. Probably for like an hour, 2 hours. Yeah. At the end of me pouring my heart, he looked at me in the eyes and he said, well, that's your version of what a father was supposed to be. I think I was a good dad, right? And at that point, I expected that to crush me. Yeah. At that point, I was like, I'm speaking to a wall here, man. Yeah,
that's cold.
But that freed me. Yeah. Because I was like, I'm expecting much, when he's a broken man just like I am, and I'm expecting a lot, man. So that kind of just gave me freedom to say, hey, this thing will be what it is, in God's timing. Yeah. If he comes around or whatever, and I'm 36 this year, and we just haven't uttered a word to each other, and he literally lives 20 minutes away from me. I know his house. I know where he sits,
man.
But I'm like...
But isn't it funny how, as we grow, we understand our parents' action context?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we how we
Yes.
understand it is completely different.
Different,
to
bro.
how we were when we were young. I mean,
Yeah.
my mom deserted me
Yes.
completely when I was young.
Yeah.
Like she left.
Sure.
I met my mom for the first time probably when I was about 15 years old.
Wow.
Because she's gone. She was gone, and I
Wow,
was
bro.
angry.
Mm.
But I think about it now and say she was in her. Maybe my mom is like 20, maybe 18 years older than me.
Wow.
So she was in her late
Wow.
teens.
Yeah.
And this was a married man,
Sheesh.
probably who promised her
The
the
world.
world.
Man. Sheesh.
And after she fell pregnant, and this guy just said, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm sticking with my family."
Yeah.
And what that does to a young girl.
Bro.
So it was not me she had an issue with. It was just
She's a teenager.
she's a teenager. She's broken. She's and I'm like, all the hurt and the anger I had towards her in that moment just falls away when you listen to it in context. Only now that I'm old and I'm doing marriage counseling and I'm seeing what life is, I'm like, man, she had it rough.
Yeah.
She had it rough. She was sold dreams.
Yes.
One of those, the husband who says, "I wish I met you before I met my wife."
Yeah.
That's probably what they said to her.
That was the line.
That was the line.
Yeah.
I was like, that was the line that caught her.
Sheesh,
and
bro.
and I'm then a reminder of the lies, of the betrayal, of the brokenness, of all these things. And she had to also free herself from that and leave, And I understand in context. So my dad, I always knew, well, I didn't always know. I had a crush on my sister.
Yeah. You
It
didn't
sounds
know.
I didn't know she was my sister. I didn't know she was my sister. Because we were staying in the same neighborhood, right? I know that sounds a bit wrong, but I didn't
is what it
know.
is.
It is what it is. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Fortunately, so I
That's
never.
a divine blessing, man.
I thank the Lord that and I didn't. And then I found out that the guy who was I had a crush on my sister, and my brother, who's older, was my basketball teacher.
Wow.
But I didn't know that he was
Sure,
my brother
sure.
then. And then when I asked my grandmother, "Listen, man, everyone in school has dads. Not everyone, but most people have dads.
Yeah.
I don't. Who's my dad?" And she sat me down. She explained no so and so. I'm like, that guy. Her dad?
My crush.
He's that, my crush. You're crushing my dreams. You're crushing my dreams, And then we tried to reach out. It was difficult. And we went the maintenance court route.
Yeah.
I sat with him for the first time next to me at a maintenance office. And halfway through it, I said to the guy, "No, I can't do this. I can't go ahead with this. No, it's fine. If he doesn't want to be part of my life, it's okay. I'm not gonna. This way, no, it's not going to work." And then I left. The next time we met, I was from a basketball game, and I was at the, this pay phones, Vodacom. We used to call them Vodacom.
Yes.
Where you call the container, where you call the girlfriend, and they're dumping you. Yeah.
That's my 250 going for you
my
to break
brother.
up with me.
I'm telling you. And I was making a call there, and we finished our calls at the same time. And we met at the counter.
Because there was like
booths. There were booths. Yeah. And we met at the counter, and he put 5 rands in front of me.
Yeah.
Didn't say a word. Just put 5 rands in front of me and then walked out.
No way, man.
And I was happy and confused. I felt like he was acknowledging that I'm his son by putting the 5 rands in front. But but you could have said something. So I don't know, man. It was such a confusing moment. And then my siblings from my side started talking to me, reaching out. So I actually have more of a relationship with them than with him.
Sheesh,
We started having a relationship, and my sister said something to me that also just challenged my perspective. And I said to him, at least you guys had him. He was at the house. I grew up without him. And they said to me, at least you know that you knew every night that he's not coming.
Get out of here, bro.
Like, at least you knew that every night he's not coming. You knew that he's not gonna buy clothes. You knew, you kind of knew. So with us, we never knew that is this the night where he's going to come home or he's not going to come home? Is this the night where he comes drunk or he doesn't? Is it that the month where we're going to get groceries or we're not going to get groceries? We lived in that.
It's proper instability.
Yeah, it was proper instability. He says, you knew that he is not coming. We, on the other hand, it was that up and down for the rest of our lives. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's wild, man.
Never looked at it that way.
That is wild, man.
So yeah, man, that was, and I learned from that. I'm like, yo, I want my kids to always know that I'll show up.
Come on, bro.
I want them to know, I want my wife to know that, man, this guy will show up. Just that sense of reliability. Yeah. It just gives them a sense of, comfort and stability. So, yeah, man, that was,
wow, bro.
That's what I learned from being a man, from all those, about being a man, from all of those, complex situations.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that's the nature of life, right? Yeah. It's very complex.
Yeah. Speaking of that, you put out a post on, I think it was Facebook, and I quote, you say, a man who doesn't know what their kryptonite is in danger.
Yeah. Sure.
And then you kind of alluded to, I don't know if it's in that post or I saw it somewhere else, but just, you being an A-type leader.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile all of that, being that vulnerable to speak about somebody who's aware of their kryptonite, and I think of, obviously, the stories of our fathers. Yeah. Had they known what their kryptonite is, how different their lives would have turned out, the lives of their families.
Yeah. The scripture that says a gift will put you before kings.
Yeah.
It also puts you before temptations.
Sure.
That's what it does. It doesn't just put you before kings. It also puts you before temptations. Yeah. And if you don't understand your kryptonite, and you don't actually accept that it is a kryptonite, you act as if you are strong in that area, it's going to take you out. So as a man, you just need to know that, man, money is my problem.
Sure.
Lust is my problem. Sure. A loose tongue is my problem. Commitment is whatever it is. And be honest with yourself to say, here, I'm bad. Put me in front of this.
Yes.
I'm not going to make it.
Yes.
And then you can take steps towards protecting yourself.
Yeah.
And if you keep denying it, because I think we all kind of know, it's just that we are not willing to accept it because we think having a kryptonite means you are a bad man. It makes you just human.
Yes.
It makes you a human being. You were left by your dad when you were 15. It did something to you.
100.
And you need to, I never had it. I just lived in instability all my life. It did something to me. I need to acknowledge that my experiences, though they've built strength in me, there's somewhere where they've built a weakness in me, and accept that to say, I have this weakness. Yeah. How then do I? Because you see, how then do I create a hedge around me to protect me against this thing? And I find that having other men whom you can be completely honest with helps a lot. Yeah. I come from a family of I was born out of an affair and everything, and my mom was never there. Well, the first time I heard the words "I love you" was when my grandmother loved me dearly, but it was not a thing she ever said. Yeah. And she had 8 kids. Sure. She had to, you understand? So she loved me absolutely. Yeah. So I've always just had a deficiency of feeling loved. I felt rejected by my own mother from birth. Do you understand? Yeah. So my relationship with women as a result of that is tricky. When I was a DJ, I could indulge as much as I could trying to fill this void. But when I get into marriage now, I'm only stuck with one. Forever. And I say, but I have a broken part of me here that doesn't just want one. Yes. It wants a lot. Yes. How am I going to deal with that? Then I tell her first. Say, listen, there's this deficiency, there's this kryptonite, there's this issue. Do you understand that? Yeah. And then I bring friends and say, guys, there's this issue. Sure. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I go to therapy. Listen, there's this issue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, so my wife, my friends, and the therapist together, working together to help me just to be a better person. And as the years come, I just find them stronger. As my influence is rising now, I have 3 guys who are on my DMs all the time. So I don't have a sense of privacy.
That's great, man.
I don't need it. Someone needs it and someone appreciates. I don't need it. I don't want it. You know, I'm like, hey, I can't. I don't have the luxury. You know what? I need to protect myself. Yeah.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
That's great. Does your A-type personality, is that innate?
Yeah.
Or are some of these experiences, what shape it? So you come to Pretoria, 2005.
Yeah.
From Gurman.
Yeah, from Gurman.
Man, when I found out that you stayed at a police station for 5 months, right? I was homeless for probably 4 months. But I had a car. So I was sleeping in my car, right? Before very gracious family took me in, right? And I was still in varsity at that point. So I wasn't the DJ, but I'd go party. And I'd be the Uber.
So take everyone home.
So the last guy I drop, I'm like, man, I live far. Can I stay? So then
I mean,
stay at
you
your
gotta
place.
do what you have to do, right?
I gave you a lift.
I gave you a lift.
You're gonna give me a bed, right?
That's good.
So that's what I had.
Right? Use that.
Yeah. But I can't imagine, man, just staying at a police station for 5 straight months. You come to Pretoria with just 1,000 that your grandmother gave you, right? So I'm like, how do you is your A-type personality as a result of all of those experiences you have to survive? Or is it innate? Or is it a combination of both, man?
I think it's a combination of both, but mostly just a survival.
Okay.
So I knew my dad was not around. My mom was not around. So I had myself. So I had to fight for everything. I had to fight my way through everything. I had to. So, and then I had cousins and everyone. And my grandmother would always put me in charge. When I remember, she would come home and the lights are not on, it's not cooked, the dishes are not, whatever the situation is. There's 8 of us. I'd be the one who gets a beating. I'm like, I'm not even the eldest. There's 2 cousins of mine who are older than me. Why am I the one who's getting the brand? And so from there, I just had this thing of just marshalling everyone, just because I'm the one who's going to get beaten. So I just need to make sure. And also then I trusted people less. Because I'm like, every time I ask someone to do something, they don't do it right. Then I get the beating. So what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do it. And my mom had this thing of saying, I'm coming. Every December, she'd say she's coming and then she would never show up. So I then stopped relying on people. I knew that if things are going to be done, I have to do it myself. And I have to fend for myself. I have to fight for myself. And that A-type personality. So as I grow, even my leadership and everything, it's part of that kryptonite, just understanding that, I'm a bulldozer because I've had to bulldoze through life. I've had to bulldoze through life. And sometimes I need to say to myself, Koketso, there's no threat. Relax. There's no threat. Because then there was a threat. There was a real threat I was dealing with. And now I need to remind myself, there's no threat. Relax. Because in your mind, the mind, it feels like the threat is still there. And you feel like you need to defend yourself. And I need to say to myself,
there's nothing there.
There's no threat. Last week, so we're moving into a new building. And I was like, this is such a, and I mean, we talked about last week. I was like, this is such a moment to celebrate. Because with not having parents and every having to fight, you realize that you become a perfectionist. Because you just want to make sure that you perform at your highest level so that you can achieve you want to escape your life as much as possible. So that was me. I'm a slave driver. I want everything to be done. and I said to the guys, we bought the building. If the lights are not working properly on Sunday, it's fine.
It's fine.
If the stuff is not perfect, it's okay. We are here. We will grow as we go. And I was like, was that
me?
I was like, okay, was that me saying that? And I was like, wow, man, there's growth. There's growth. I'm growing in this area as well of being able just to trust people and be able not to put so much pressure on myself to perform and just relax. And I find that it just the team itself. There's just a sense of,
Sure.
okay,
Yeah.
we can breathe. We can breathe because now they knew if I enter the room, I will see everything that is wrong within the first 2 minutes.
Sheesh, man.
And people now become tense.
Mm.
And when I came on Sunday, everyone was just so relaxed because I said to them, it's fine.
We're cool,
and
man.
I said to them, this coming Sunday, if we can just be 1 inch better than last week,
Sure.
it's enough.
Yeah.
We will do it again next week Sunday. It will grow.
Sure.
Probably they're like, who is this guy?
Lord, why didn't you give us a building earlier?
If this is what it does. so yeah,
Sheesh,
man. It's part of those things that build us to who we are.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's great, man. So, and I mean, that your A-type personality shines obviously with the bride of Christ, the church, but probably with your bride at home.
Yeah.
That was a challenging thing.
Yeah.
Because when most women, and I might get stoned for this, right? But most women would probably tend to think, because of how we are as men, we're all A-type personalities, right? It's like, all husbands are like this, right? But how did that work, man? Because I know, you've been married, 8 years now?
8 years,
Been married 10 years, and the most humbling thing in my life is my marriage.
Absolutely.
Right?
Listen, you come from the streets, and the streets, they tell you are a
You're
superhero,
amazing.
you're amazing. You get home, they're like, sit down.
Yeah. Look at your underwear.
Look at what you've done. Yeah,
look at your socks.
Well, I'm telling you.
How did that work? How did you find ways to still be you? And obviously marriage calls us to die to ourselves daily, you know?
Yeah.
But clearly parts of who you are and your makeup and what God is using is being an A-type personality, so.
And I didn't think like that always. I didn't think in marriage I'm supposed to die. I thought she's supposed to make me even greater.
I hear you. There you go. I hear you.
She's supposed to make me even greater. Put me on a bigger platform and just make me this. I'm supposed to be the most amazing person because of her. She's a helper for goodness sake.
When you were humble, you were like, I'm at 80%. You're gonna take me to 20.
You come in with that, man. You even if you don't say it with your mouth, the expectation is, let's build a platform for me.
Yes.
Let's do it. I'm gonna build a life for you guys.
Yes.
You must just make sure that I stay on top. You must hold me here as I build this life for you.
Yes.
I'm
the visionary.
I'm the visionary.
Yeah.
I am the trophy.
I'm the prize.
I'm the prize. Imagine, that kind of thing. You come into your marriage with that, man. And then your wife disappears into that. And fortunately, my wife does not take nonsense.
Sure.
Fortunately, my wife does not have time for nonsense. So at the first couple of years of marriage was a war zone because she was not backing down. She was like, no.
You said the first
5 years?
Yeah.
She was like, no, it's not gonna happen. She fought, she pushed back, man. At some point I was like, this is not the woman of God has for me. Like, this one.
We are equally yoked.
We are unequally yoked. This is not the one.
Wow.
But then I realized that I needed that kind of woman.
Yes.
Because if I didn't have that kind of woman, I'll be a tyrant.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll be a tyrant. I need someone who's not overly impressed with me, who can tell me to slow down, to wait, to think, and to see. Because I'm a big picture guy.
Sure.
And I move quick. I want to do things now.
Yeah.
And my wife always said, but wait.
Sure.
There's two of us here. It's not just you. I'm like, but what I'm doing is for us. I don't want you to do it for us. I want you to do it with me.
Yes.
And I'm like,
yeah,
just catch up. Catch up. What is this? And we fought until I realized that I came here to die.
Yeah.
I was like,
yep.
And the more dying that happened, the more my marriage blossomed. The more my marriage blossomed. Can I tell you what was one thing that just always kind of brought me back?
Yeah.
I was afraid of my wife one day waking up and say, you know what, I've been married to a narcissist who I did not become all that I wanted to become because of this guy. man, I'm afraid of that. That for me, I was like, yo, I never want to hear my wife say, I did not become everything that I wanted to be or God called me to be because I was married to this guy who made everything about himself. And I always asked her, are you still living your dreams?
Yes.
Do you, not even always, when I came to that, and are you living your dreams? How do I help you? How do I help you become better? How do I create a spotlight for you? How do I create a platform for you? How do I create a room for you to become everything that God has called you to become? You know? And I realized that when I do that, she pushes back to me and says, I want you to become everything that God has called you to be. I was like, oh, that's all I needed to do. I had to surrender.
Surrender, man.
Not to kind of put I just had to surrender. And so the past 2 years or so, I can say things have been slightly better. Yeah.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't wrong that you came into marriage so that you can be great.
Yeah.
It's just your path to greatness was through death.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's through death. And
It's not puffing yourself
Christ
up.
becomes that picture for us.
Yeah.
But no, most of us are, my brother, we come in there, we want to be heroes. We we want to be hero worshipped. And that's, your wife can easily become your enemy.
Yes.
Especially when everyone else is clapping for you. Yeah, everyone is clapping, everyone is telling you how awesome you are. And your wife, you get home and she doesn't say anything.
Yes.
And you go like, did you not see
Yeah.
that?
Do you know who I am?
Do you know? Did you not see that? I mean, say something.
Yeah.
I know I was like, but I live with you.
Yeah.
I know you.
Yeah.
I know your fears.
Yes.
I know your insecurities. I know everything.
Yeah.
I know that was a cover up.
Sure.
I want you to be healthy. I don't want you to perform. Those people don't know anything.
They don't know, man.
They don't know anything. They just see the glitz and glam. And I think that's why wives they actually bring out the best in us.
It's true, man.
Just in a way that we don't, if we're not mature, we don't want it.
Yes.
We want the fake fluff stuff, man. We want the fake fluff stuff. And they bring out they give us longevity.
Yes.
It's
true, man.
They people looking at the moment, and they're not looking at the moment. They're looking at a lifetime. Yeah. And they're like, if we're gonna ride on this moment, we're not gonna make it.
Sure.
But if we build slowly, we will have longevity.
Yeah.
So my wife doesn't play games.
That's great, man. You reminded me of a quote. It says that our biggest fear is not failing. But our biggest fear is succeeding in things that don't matter.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's that very thing where you become successful in everything else, right? But it's stuff that really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And your primary and first ministry is your family, it's your wife, right?
You know when you're saying that?
Yeah.
On Sunday when we were at the building and everyone is excited and everyone is asking me, so how do you feel everything? I think the biggest celebration in my heart was my wife.
Sure.
And seeing how excited she is. I was like, man, she's excited about this moment. I did not lose her in the process of getting this.
Yes.
She's still excited about it.
Sure.
I was like,
that's a win, man.
Yeah, that's a win. And then my daughter, she's 4 years, like, I don't like this church.
For now, Michael, we're gonna be here for a long time.
Like, okay, your mom likes it. You're like,
and your son can't speak right now.
No,
He can't say anything.
I can't say anything. Yeah, you just come and just keep quiet. This one just gonna let you. Okay, whatever. Because her friends were not there, so she doesn't like because she thinks. So I think for me, man, that was a win.
Yeah.
In the sense that my wife is excited about the season we're in.
Sure.
I didn't reach here and look around and say, where's my wife?
Yeah.
She's right here excited about this season.
That's great, man.
Like, no, then we did one thing right. Yeah.
You started Muso 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know when it was that you had your company, your leadership company. You're doing some life coaching stuff.
Yeah, sure.
In the process of you planting Muso, you said, part of that you'd had to close your
business.
Your business. Yeah. You guys moving to a smaller apartment. Walk us through that, man. I think people decide of
Yeah.
where pastors are, so the side of the pulpit, and we can wrongly and sometimes unfairly think like you belong to us, and fail to realize again that your first ministry is to your wife.
It's my family. Yeah.
So how do you walk her through? One, we're gonna plant this church.
Yeah.
Two, hey Mfana, things are rough.
It's tough.
We have to downgrade, and you keep her there.
Yeah.
To obviously where the Lord has led you now.
Yeah.
And I say that to maybe even speak into wives' sense of security. So unlike us, God gives us a sense of adventure, risk taking.
We can drive when there's nothing.
Yeah. Again, 5 months at a police station, 4 months in a car.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a woman having to do that. Not that there aren't women who do that, but there are. But I think for us, it was like, I will rough it through, you know?
Yeah.
But it changes when you have somebody's daughter,
family,
right? And especially God's daughter that you said, I am going to be responsible for.
Take care of her.
Yeah. So how do you walk us through that, man? And think about the husbands who are having a difficult time speaking to their wives about finances now.
Telling you, man. Look, when we left the church that we were working for, I was working there and it was a full-time job. We were staying in a nice estate.
Sure.
We were having a good time.
Good. Yeah.
And yeah, man, we were really having a good time. And my wife had come out of a ministry family.
Okay.
Where her parents was in ministry, so she never wanted to go back then. So because I was working for this church and they were paying the bills, medical aid, she was like, okay, it's not that bad. Yeah, it's not that bad. I can handle this. And when I said I'm leaving to plant the church, I had to have a plan. Yeah. To say, okay, I'm gonna grow this business. So I had to show her that picture, but she was not having it. So my wife is like, no. I don't think we should do this now. So my wife was not up for. Not that she didn't want us to plant the church, just thought at that time we shouldn't.
Sure.
Because that sense of security.
How old were you guys at that point?
Sure, man. I was because I'm 5 years older than my wife.
Yeah.
So it's probably 30.
Okay.
Yeah, that was 7 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So my wife is 25.
Yeah.
So she's like, no, dude, no. I was like, no, I'm gonna start this business, and then I do start the business.
Sure.
And it explodes.
Sure.
It does really well. Yeah. I have employees, offices.
Yeah.
My wife has a black card. I gave her a black card with it. I'm like,
you living.
Do your thing, I just give me we're living in a nice estate and everything. So she's working in retail, and we're having we're living an okay life, paying a salary into that, making really bad business decisions. But hey, I was young. Yeah. Okay, good. And then we went to Dubai. We traveled together to Dubai, and when we were there, God spoke. So we're doing this business thing. Business was going well. God spoke and says, "It's time to plant Musa Church." And I said to God, whatever it is that you want me to do, I want it to grow quick, fast, and just be amazing. Yeah. And whatever you don't want me to do, I want it to fail quick and fast so that I don't waste my time. Yeah. And God was like, hold my beer. Say less.
Hey, sorry to interrupt your viewing. We will shortly get back to that episode because obviously there's a lot of dopeness in there, right? But before we go back there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you're updated on all the episodes that we are dropping, right? Here's the thing. There's a lot of value. There's a lot of gems. There's a lot of dopeness that comes out of this. What do we want to do? We want to bless you with more dopeness, give you more gems, right? And with that, check out what's coming out next week.
When I got the diagnosis, I'm like, I'm on board with what I need to do to deal with this thing. But hear me, I want to deal with this thing. I'm not trying to live with this thing. I want to deal with it. It's clinical.
Sure.
I get it.
Sure.
I gotta get on prescription meds.
Sure.
But I'm not gonna stay on these prescription meds.
Sure.
And I know that what I'm saying means a lot of things I'm going to have to fight quite a lot. Has a lot of implications.
I said to God, God, whatever it is that you want me to do,
Yeah.
I want it to grow quick, fast,
Yeah.
and just be amazing.
Yeah.
And whatever you don't want me to do, I want it to fail quick and fast
Yeah.
so that I don't waste my time.
Yeah.
And God was like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Say less. Man. And we were in the verge of signing a really big contract with one of the listed companies.
Yeah.
And so now at this time we are planning to plant Muso Church. We're having actually monthly events.
Wow.
And I'm in negotiations with this
Sure.
company. So things are coming. We're talking 300 million rands contract
Sure.
over 5 years.
Sure.
So man,
Yeah.
it was like I had actually already ordered a Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah. Your wife's insecurities moved to security.
Yeah, listen, man. Like we were, and we were there, and then out of Wuhan,
Yeah.
word came out in December that hey, there's something coming here. The share price, I don't know how the share price of that out of New York, share price of that company went from 280 rands per share point to 28 rands. It's a petroleum company. Imagine that drop.
Yeah.
And they said, listen, every contract that is not signed, halt.
Yeah.
Things are tough. I'm in that queue, and they're like, if there's a contract that there's a couple that's under a year, pay them out.
Yeah.
Because we just need to consolidate. And they said, when you get a call, we're gonna pay you for the rest of your contract. You don't even need to come to site next week. It's fine. It's like, what? What do you mean? They're like, no, this contract, let's put it on hold. And let's just see how things will go maybe around February. And we all know what happened in 2020.
Yep.
Things became worse. Man, I have employees. And when we were in the negotiations of this contract, I made some bad financial decisions.
Sure.
I borrowed money so that I can increase my staff in preparation for this contract and everything, And so now I owe the bank, I employ people. My wife is pregnant with our first daughter. And it's just, we are in the process of planting a church. Telling you, man.
No way.
Listen.
No way.
And I remember having to sell furniture. I had to retrench everyone. Because now everything was shut down.
How are you not sweating blood?
Man, my wife, February, gives birth. Just like 2 weeks before lockdown.
Yeah.
She gives birth, and the company, there's nothing happening. We are in the training space. If there is a problem, training is the first thing that companies cut. It's a luxury for them. There is absolutely nothing. The bank wants its money. Fortunately, I had, with some of the money that I'd made, I bought that Mercedes cash, and I said, that Mercedes, can you sell it for me? But no one is buying cars at the time. Where you gonna buy a car and go away with the car? Oh man. And my wife then, because of the lockdown, she goes to my in-laws in Van der Bijl. And I had to move in with my in-laws. Yeah, I had to move in now.
What's the word after humbling?
Whatever comes
after humbling.
I had to move in with my in-laws. And one morning I remember my mother-in-law coming in with like baby clothes, and they're showing, we bought her this and this and that. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, I can't even buy my daughter a vest.
It's your first child, man.
It's my first child. Like, nothing, bro. As men, when you have money, there's certain things you don't eat.
You have a bounce in your step.
Yeah, you have a bounce in your step. And now when they cook, you eat whatever they you can't even say anything. And now, because sometimes we with men, we have a fragile ego.
Yeah.
When you have a stomach bug, there was a garage close by, a petrol station close by. When I had a stomach bug, I would never do my number 2 in the house. I just felt like it's my in-laws' house, man. Like I need to retain some sense of dignity. I'll drive to the petrol station. Man, at that time we're doing church online.
Yeah.
We decided to plant Muso, to launch Muso Church online.
Yeah.
And man, it's exploding.
How are you preaching?
I'm preaching from my phone in my in-laws' house in the bedroom.
I'm just saying mentally, in terms of your heart, how are you,
Man, I'm
putting on a sermon is
I'm just pulling from wherever. You know, I think God strengthens us in those moments. Just pulling from wherever. And my in-laws are treating me so well, man. My wife is treating me so. She's working in retail.
Yes.
Shops are closed, but they were still earning 60% of their salary. So at the end of the month, you'd give to me the money, and then I would go with my father-in-law to go and buy groceries. Now I'm the one who's paying there, but my wife is the one who gave me the money to pay. And she's now boosting she understands my male ego to say, man, this guy's staying in my parents' house. He needs to be seen to be contributing.
Yeah.
And she gives me a card. I go there, but I know, that. Yo, man, that was tough. That I can tell you, man. That was just from an emotion. I think God just humbled me.
Yeah.
Man, in that. And my wife, never a sign of frustration.
Sure.
No, not because
Such
of money or
grace,
anything.
man.
No.
Yeah.
The only thing that was frustrating was the church, because she's like, see, I told you about this church of yours.
Yeah.
You say, look now. If you were still working there, but it was just feel like I made a bad decision. But she was here.
Yeah.
We're fighting it out. We're fighting about the church, not about the money. We're just fighting about the church.
Sheesh.
But the church was growing.
Yeah.
The church was growing, man.
Yeah.
And the church grew to what it is today.
Sure.
In 4 years, we have just seen God does something incredible.
Yeah.
And my wife was there.
Time,
Man, she was just here through all these things.
Yeah.
And seeing us move now from staying with her parents and then moving into a smaller apartment. And then over the years, things have just, gotten better. And so it was.
Sheesh.
It was tough. It was tough, man. And then when we moved into a small apartment, we had to have church from our small apartment.
Sure.
Remember, we had,
drums
the drums in the bedroom and the piano in the kitchen. And then, I'm preaching in the lounge. And then one day I'm preaching, and then the security guy knocks and says, they give me a fine.
Yeah.
In the middle of a sermon.
Yeah.
And I had to say to the people online, I'm coming, just wait.
Yeah.
They put what is this? Placeholder.
Yeah.
I go outside, they give me a fine. I come and say, okay, guys, I just got a fine. Then I continue preaching. Then I continue preaching.
Sure.
And my wife was there, man. My wife was there. She was not happy.
Yeah.
She was really not excited about what's happening.
Yeah.
But she was there.
Sure.
She
what conversations are you having? Because I can imagine, man, you get all of these things are happening, you're preaching, you're getting the fine.
Yeah.
She's in the room.
Yeah.
Me, I'm thinking, what am I gonna say after the service?
With the service. Right? She never said, I told you.
Okay.
Yeah. That she never. I could tell that she's frustrated.
Yeah.
I could tell that but she never put in my face to say, you know what, I told you this thing, that. She was always there, but she was frustrated. I could tell just the frustration just to say, man, we had a stable thing.
Yes.
We had to now. And I had to say to her, trust me. And I think here's the thing, man. Our wives don't have to be excited.
Yes.
Even if they are frustrated.
Yes.
As long as they're trusting us, we should hold on to that.
Sure.
Because sometimes your wife is trusting you, but she's not excited. She says, man, listen, I'm here with you. But just because I'm not excited doesn't mean I'm not here.
I'm not here.
Because sometimes then we want them to be excited, but she's not excited.
Yes.
She's here.
Yes.
And that was my wife. She was there, but she was not excited. So I could focus on either the fact that she's not excited or the fact that she's there. And I focused on the fact that she was not excited.
Yeah.
Like, everyone is happy.
Yeah.
You're sulky. You're sulky. Yeah. But she was there. She was like, listen, I don't like this. But I am here.
Yeah.
So I think as husbands, we must know that sometimes we lead our families into unfamiliar territory.
Yes.
Into really tough situations. Just because they are supporting us doesn't mean they're always going to be excited about it. And sometimes we need to take the support and say the excitement will come.
Yes.
This past Sunday, she was excited.
She was excited, man.
She was not supporting me more than she did then. She was still supporting me the same. It's just that then it was with frustration. This time is with excitement. I'm not going to say, oh, now because things are working. No. She has always been supportive. It's just that there was frustration. Yeah.
I wonder, not even wonder, I know there's a lot of both husbands and wives who just needed to hear that, man. That's something I struggle with. Personally, when I don't see visible excitement, you know, it's even hard for me to believe that my wife actually wants to be here, you know, because the excitement translates as, no, she wants to be here. But that is hard, man. It is hard. What prayers were you having in those moments? Because I'm like, again, yes, superhero A-type personality, but we know God is keeping you, man, and He's holding you. What prayers are you having in those moments?
I said, I think I was just like, God, we made a deal.
Sure.
Yeah. I was like, God, we made a deal.
Sure.
You took the business.
Sure.
You took the business. I get it. I'm not even going to fight.
Yeah.
I'm going to lay it down.
Sure.
But now, this church, I mean, come on, my guy, do your thing. And he was like, say less.
Yeah.
I'll do my thing.
Sure.
And then he has done his thing.
Yeah.
And that was the thing, man. I was just holding on to that word. God, this is a word you gave me.
Yeah.
You said I must plant an expansive church. You said it was going to be expansive. That's the word you said. Matthew 16:18. And I'll build my church.
Yeah.
In the Message translation, it says, a church so expansive with energy.
Yeah.
The gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
Sure.
I said, that's what you said to me.
Yeah.
Let's go. This church.
I'm here.
You have made yourself clear.
Yeah.
You don't want me to do business.
Sure.
And I've surrendered it.
Yeah.
It's fine. I was good at it.
Yeah.
Even today, people are still giving me job offers.
Sure.
I said, I'll surrender it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
And in the process, I don't want my family to struggle.
Yes.
I want my family to really have a good life.
Yeah.
The life that I could have afforded them with the business,
Sure.
please
help me with that.
Just help me with that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man. I'm not apologetic about that.
Sure.
I really want my family to have a good life because
Such
I
an
know
honest,
that I have potential as a because I'm an industrial psychologist.
Sure.
As a consultant, I could be making serious money feeding my family.
Yeah.
I am running the church. There's a ministry component of it and there's an organizational component of it. I'm running an organization of more than 1,000 people. I am working hard.
Yeah.
And my family needs to eat out of that. I don't subscribe to this pastor must be poor kind of situation. No. That I'm working very hard. I'm working very, very hard.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Part of your working hard is the building that the Lord has blessed you with now.
Yeah.
Sticking to just how your wife has been a partner and how that translates. Part of the 7 million is you guys had a very huge bag of money that you were gonna put a down payment for a house. And
you've done your research. You guys are properly researched. I'm like, that's good.
So you pray that, Lord, if this is what you want me to do, speak to my wife.
I was like, how do you go to your wife and say, hey, we need to give up this money that I said I'm gonna buy you a house
100
to the church?
No,
I was not gonna have that conversation.
Thinking about where you come from, so we're comfortable. One, I didn't want to be in ministry, but you have this job where things seem to be okay. So I'll join you. Yeah. Okay. Go do the business. I'm not really sure, but it happens. Yeah. All of that falls apart. We move into my parents' house. Yeah. And now we're going into the small apartment. We're doing this church thing. I'm not really happy and excited about it. Finally, things are taking off. We have this lump sum. Yeah. We have to give it away. So God speaks to her. Yeah. Right. And obviously that's a moment of confirmation for you. Yeah. I mean, can you describe what feeling did you have before that moment, right? Because I think a lot of us husbands sit on this side of that moment, where we're saying, Lord, if this is your daughter, talk to her.
Yeah, talk to her.
And God hasn't. So how long did that take? And how are you not sweating? Yeah. And if you were, How was it?
Man, I was sweating because it was a lot of money.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna say to my wife, you wait again so that the church can, because when we were planting the church, so my wife had a like a 32-inch TV, right? That she came with from varsity and stuff. So that's what we were using because I sold everything I had. When you're in business, you will sell stuff. Like I had nothing. We were still using her bed that she was using. Oh man, listen, I'm telling you, it was a lot. And I'm like, and one day I walked into the church. And I realized that we have 4 65-inch TVs in the church. At home, I'm still using a 32-inch TV
with the back.
And I realized that sometimes we can take advantage of the fact that our family will always be there, and we put them last. And especially in ministry, we're doing this for the Lord. And at one point I had to stop and say, I'm not gonna pour anything in. I need to take care of my family.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
And so so even as the business now the church was growing and stuff like that, so people would still call me to come and preach here. I got some international gigs, and some of my consultant friends, they'll say, man, I'm not giving you a job. Can you just do this week for me?
Sure.
And I'll do the week and I'll get a lump sum.
Sure.
Save it up.
Sure.
So every now and then I'll just do a week here and there of consulting. And I was like, we have money, put it together, and this is for the family. And God says, you need to give this sacrificially, all of it, for this building. I was like, there's no way, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, me, you know me. Me, I don't have a problem. Me, this money, I can give it now. Me, I have no issues. Your daughter, on the other hand, I feel like I can't make her wait again. Yeah, I feel like I can't ask her to do that. At that moment, I was like, no, man, I'm gonna put my wife first. I was not even pressing God to speak to her. I said, even if you don't speak, I'm not gonna do it.
Wow.
If my wife is not on board, I'm not gonna do it. Wow. I was willing to lose the building than to ask my wife to give up that money. I was like, man, this time I need to be a better husband than a better pastor.
Come on.
I was like, this time I need to be a better husband than a better pastor. I was willing to walk away from it if my wife was not on board. And I was like, I'm not even going to suggest it to her. I'm not even going to have it.
I'm not fasting and praying.
I'm not fasting and praying. No, I'm not doing any. Like, listen, I'm not.
Wow.
If I have to buy her house and we lose the building and we stick to the building that we have at church, so be it. Yeah, so be it. I'm not going to do that. So I didn't pray. I didn't know. Just said, no, I'm not getting involved. And then we were driving home. We parked, and then she's like, you know what? I think we must give this money that we have in the house. I was like, my Jesus. I'm like, would you look at God? I was like, yo, God came through for me. Yeah. I was like, God.
Do you talk to her about that?
I told her. I told her. I was like, bro, you have no idea what this is. I was like, I was just not gonna ask you.
Yeah.
And just like part of me being, I knew you wanted. I know you. Says I know you. You are a driven person.
Yeah.
I knew you wanted to use this money, but you didn't ask me.
Yeah.
You didn't even hint.
Sure.
It says that's part of the reason I'm surrendering to say, let's do this, because you did not put your dream before us as a family. I was like, okay, so that's
power,
good.
man.
Yeah. So yeah, that was us, man.
Yeah.
Was,
and speaking of generosity, a lot of people say that's who you are,
so I've heard.
you live your, and for me, again, I think when I found that out, I was just like, man, that's so inspiring. There's a story of you helping out your mom. And I mean, you've described obviously the relationship you had with your mom. Side note, my mom was 15 when she had me.
Sure.
Yeah. So she didn't even know she was pregnant until 7 months.
Oh my goodness.
She was
Yeah,
14.
she was young. Yeah. So the body did not. The body just came.
It's only 7 months later, one of the older ladies in the community saw that she was pregnant.
Yeah.
And then went and told my grandmother.
Yeah.
But they told my grandmother to abort, to convince my
It's
mother
7
to
months.
abort. Yeah.
Crazy, man.
So then my grandmother was like, nah,
Yeah, it's fine.
it's not happening. And that's one person I long to see, man, in heaven. Just to be like,
that lady says,
if it wasn't for you and how God worked in your life, I would have been a statistic, and I remember having to preach on the 6th commandment, thou shalt not kill. And that was my intro, just how my mother and my grandmother, fought to keep me alive.
Wow.
But you have your story with your mom. She's not there. At some point, similar situation, you have money for a car.
Yeah.
And you're gonna use that as a down payment for a car.
For a car, yeah.
And you give it to your mom.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, man.
And I bring that up because part of what being a husband is having to deal with our childhood trauma, and some of that stuff that's undealt with spills over obviously to our wives.
Yeah.
They're the first people to feel that.
And you know what's the funny thing? Until maybe the past 3 years or so, my wife had never experienced my generosity.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, because I always thought she's there. Can you imagine?
Yep.
She was just.
It's easy to take them for granted.
Yeah, to take them for granted. To say, now she's here, and I don't need her to like me.
Yeah,
she loves me, but I want everyone else to like me. Yeah. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna give them my money. It's a gift of generosity that I have, but now I use the gift to fill a void.
Fill a hole,
because of just feeling like my mom and my dad left, and just I realized that when you give to people, they like you.
Yeah.
So I gave from that perspective of just wanting to be liked until I did the deep work. And when I did the deep work, man, I'm still very generous, but now I don't do it to be liked by people.
Yes.
And I give to my wife more than anyone else. She has become now the beneficiary of my generosity, man. Yeah. She's probably sometimes just like, oh, is this you? What is this? Is this you, sir? I was like, sheesh, man. And I realized that I need her to like me.
Yes.
Yeah. I know she loves me, but I want her to like me. I want to be liked by her. I want her to and sometimes you say your wife doesn't celebrate you. It's like, if she was getting the gifts, she'll also be celebrating. Those people are celebrating you because they're getting the gifts. They're getting the money, they're getting the what. Yeah. She's not.
Sheesh, man.
So really, it's been a journey of growth. Yeah. It's been a journey of me personally.
Yes.
It's just been a journey of growing, and one of the things in my leadership philosophy, is just being a real leader. Craig Rochelle is that people would rather have a leader who is real than a leader who's always right.
Yeah.
That's
good, man.
And that's just me. I'm like,
that's
man,
good.
I just want to be a real person so that people can identify and go like, oh, okay. Yeah. So we're on the journey together. Yeah.
That's good, bro. Maybe to end it off here, man, this has certainly been a blessing for me, and it's been super encouraging.
No, man. Thank you. We spoke about so many things. Like ministry.
So earlier on in your life, you didn't want kids. And you God just blessed you with a son.
Just blessed me with a son, man.
How do you move from not wanting kids, and what was the reason?
Yeah.
Of not wanting them to get to a point where, I'll share mine.
Yeah.
I wanted 4.
Yeah.
That's before I got married.
Yeah.
And then we had our daughter. And I was like, Cassie, I'm such an idiot. Why did I think I can handle 4 kids?
When one is such a lot of work. Yeah.
And here's the thing. Contrary to what people might think, my kid slept day 1.
Yeah.
Never gave us issues.
Sure.
She's 5 this year. She's probably been to the doctor twice. Wow. Hardly sick, when she's sick, we see it.
So what's your problem, bro? Like,
I need prayers.
I want that.
Pray for me. But I think it's the shock of having to raise a human, and part of it,
And the permanence of it.
yes,
It's an everyday thing. Yeah.
and then coupled with just my own, feelings of abandonment from my dad.
Sure.
And I've shared this here before, but I remember holding her the first day, and I was like, "Oh, that's probably why my dad left." Because I looked at her and thought, "I have to keep you alive."
Yeah.
That would make any man
Too much
run
pressure.
away.
Too much pressure.
Right? And I was like, "Lord, you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to keep me." Right?
Yeah.
And then it's at that point I'm like, "God, I think I was joking about 4.
Yeah.
I think this is enough.
I can handle this.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it at this. Yeah.
And I've justified it with some bad theology.
Yeah.
So people ask me, why don't you have more kids? I'm like, God had one. I'm like, show me Jesus's brothers. Right? And they're like, no, it's us. I'm like, no, we are Abraham's children. The Sunday school song says Father Abraham had many sons. It's not Father God.
Cut.
So I'm like, that's just my own bad theology that justifies why I only have one kid.
Sure.
But yeah, man, take us through your journey.
Yeah. I think just bad parenting from just my parents. I mean, my grandmother was an amazing parent. Yeah. But she worked hard, man. She worked really hard, and I was like, and I think it's more than that is that. So when you get abandoned by both your parents, and this is what the therapist then brought to me. I was never angry with my parents. Not even a single day. I've never been angry with them. Not at all. Not even not resentment. I've never felt resentment, anger, hate, nothing towards my parents. And the therapist was like, you blocked your ability to feel. So when you block your ability to love, you block then your ability to hate, you block everything. So even when people did me wrong, I never had the ability to get angry. Yeah. And the therapist says, because you have never loved. When you were trying to protect yourself from being hurt, with that, the unintended consequences that you blocked your ability to love.
Yeah, sure.
To a point where when I had my daughter, it took me about 6 months to be able to say, I love you to my daughter. 6 months. But I felt it, man. It was like this explosion in my heart.
Yeah.
So it was one of the things we fought about with my wife because she wanted kids so much. I was like, me, I don't. I just didn't think I had the capacity to. I was like, she's gonna be my child, and I will have to love her. And how do I do that? What do you mean? Like,
what is that?
What is that? Yeah. How does that even look like? And the first time I held her, I was just like, you see?
Yeah.
What is this now?
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
sure. And it doesn't help that when they're born, they look like aliens.
Yeah, you're like,
like, don't say that. I'm like, but it does look like an alien.
Yeah, it doesn't look like, And my wife was drunk with the anesthetic. Yeah. And I'm there with her alone in the room, and I'm just holding her like this. No.
What do we do now? Yeah.
Because people ask me, so how did you feel the first time you held her? I was like, guys, I was just numb. I was like, what now? You see, this is exactly what I didn't know. Because now I'm sitting here and we took her home, man. And one afternoon, Sunday afternoon, I was just holding her, sitting in my in-laws' bedroom by the window. Yeah. And just something in my heart just kind of like, there was this explosion. I've never felt so overwhelmed by a good feeling. Like it just felt, man, it was just, it felt like I'm even having anxiety just of how grand that moment felt. And from there on, I was like, I've never felt this before. This is the first time I'm feeling this. And I'm telling you, bro, and every day after that, and then I started understanding my relationship with God so much better. Yeah. Like, she taught me more about God than any. Yeah. And I was like, I would have missed out on this. Yeah. I was like, no way, this is incredible.
Sure.
And so we just created that bond, and
Great, man.
and yeah, man. So it was that. It was just that I didn't think I had the
Yeah.
capacity to
Yeah.
to love the way I think I should have been loved.
Sure.
I was like, I they didn't love me.
Mm.
I will not be able to love her. So, or a child. So let me not have, because no child deserves to be born and not be loved.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't want to do it. And then I realized that I actually had the capacity.
Yeah.
You know, she unlocked me. I always say to my daughter, just unlocked me. And just how I love my wife, how I love my son, and just how I love people in general.
Sure.
My daughter, all thanks to her. Yeah.
It's great, brother.
Yeah.
Man, truly appreciate this, bro.
This has been good, man.
Yeah. And I think we'll end it with this. You know, you had your next summit.
Yeah.
What's next for you, for Muso? What's next for you guys as a family? You know.
So what's next for us, though? We just bought a house, me and my wife. So moving.
Come on now.
It's funny how we gave that money and God just kind of did his thing, and now
shout outs to the Lord for that.
Yeah,
man.
no, it's like no, I never take where I do not refresh, you know. So that's what's next for us as a family.
Sure.
I'm moving into a bigger house, and
great,
just I think this season I just want my family to experience the best of me.
Yeah.
I just want them to enjoy me, you know, and just enjoy just a season of rest.
Sure.
Yeah, just a season of rest, and just a season of refreshing, just feeling God refreshing us. I think that's what I was saying to God. God refresh us as a family.
Yeah.
You know, with the past 4 years we've just toiled.
Sure.
You know, put in, refresh us. You know, I was saying to God, I mean, we've been driving this small car for the past, it's been this small car of mine.
Yeah.
And because all the monies we were getting were pouring into the church, and and I was like, God, this year, just refresh me and my family. So I think that's the next for us, just a season of just rest and just being refreshed. And the oxymoron of this, that in the church, it's just a season of expansion. Bro.
But hey, we serve best from rest, man.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. So I think we are a mega church in the making.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the danger most of the time with mega churches is that they stop being about people and being about programs.
Yeah.
It's about systems and souls of people than the souls of people.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, can it remain let me be a small big church?
Sure.
Where people still feel a sense. So we are not pursuing growth at all. We're not gonna do marketing, evangelistic events, and no, we're gonna focus on the health.
Sure.
How do we then, with the people that we currently have, make sure that this is healthy?
Yeah.
And the growth that comes must find just a healthy space.
Sure.
So where we're not, growth is not our goal.
Yeah. It's not the word for the year.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. No, it's not the way. Health.
Yeah.
Health. You know, this year it was about flourish. You know? And I feel like the Lord, we have flourished enough.
Yes.
We want to be healthy.
Yes.
You know, and let that flourishing come from a healthy place.
Yes.
Let the flourishing until now has been about expansion, gathering, growing and stuff. Can this next 6 months, at least this next season, just be about health?
Yeah.
When people live here, they feel connected.
Yeah.
They feel at home. They feel discipled. They feel cared for. They feel a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
So that is my. So we are kind of like, it looks as if we're retracting.
Sure.
So that we can just be healthy.
Healthy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have the great worship team, great teaching, great. We have all the elements of a
Things
mega church. Yeah.
Now and the building as well. Yeah.
Now in the building and everything. So we just want to make sure that, hey man,
Sure.
is it healthy?
Yeah.
Are the marriages in the church healthy?
Come on,
Are the families in the church healthy? Are the kids in the church healthy? Are the teenagers in the church healthy? Are people healthy? Are they being discipled? Are they becoming more like Christ? You know, are they becoming more like Christ? That then becomes our goal as a church.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's great, bro. I was in the service when you did the flourishing sermon.
Yeah.
And you were just going into the week of fasting.
Yeah.
And I'm just reminded what you announced to the church. One of your congregants, I think it was whether the husband, I think, had come back home.
Yeah. Yes.
And he had excused himself from fasting because he wanted to
to
enjoy his wife.
Yeah. Excuse.
Yeah. But
in fact, the wife had come back home.
Yes.
The wife was the one who was out, and I said, "Sir, this fasting season, we will fast on your behalf.
Yes.
Go and feast.
Flourish.
Flourish.
As we speak.
Go and flourish with your wife.
Man, we were blessed. I was there with my wife and my daughter and a friend of ours. Truly blessed by your preaching. You know, by the service as well. So praise the Lord for you guys.
Thank
and
you,
what you're doing, man, and
Thank
particularly for your family. And I know you said your wife might not watch this because she'll judge
Yeah, she'll
you.
definitely watch it. No, she's gonna watch it.
but we want to say thank you to her, man. Thank you to her
man, what a legend.
for trusting us with your story, for allowing you to come share your lives. You know, as much as it's your story, it's obviously their story.
Sure.
So please send our greetings and our thanks
I'll do that.
to
I'll do
her,
that. Yeah.
and we appreciate her.
Yeah.
and we thank her so much, man. For
Now she's always saying, you know what? Because she doesn't like the spotlight. It's like,
yeah.
you go and do those things.
Sure.
Me, just don't include me. So I'll receive the greetings.
Yeah.
No one must invite me to come to.
I think all pastors' wives are like that, man. The majority of them, at least.
They're like, no. Man. Thank you so much for having me,
Cool,
man. Thank you for what you do here. I think
Thanks,
just
man.
creating space for people to experience the other side of us, because we're always on stage, and the perception can be that we are perfect,
Sure.
or we are superheroes and what have you. But just people being able to see that, hey, man, we're human. We're trying our best, and God is helping us. We're not going to make excuses for our mistakes, but we're going to try to just take them on and just do better and become better. So thank you for what you guys are doing here.
Cool, man.
And may more marriages be impacted, more men be impacted by your work.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for that.
Good.
Really appreciate it, man. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in, for watching. You know, we could definitely agree this has been a very encouraging, sobering, fulfilling, a blessed episode. Hope that you took much from it, and that it will continue helping you to become a better husband, become a better spouse, not just for you, but for those that are around you, and other people that you're going to impact in future. So thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Please leave your comments. We'd like to engage with you. And if you haven't subscribed, do so and hit the notification bell. We drop every Wednesday at 11:30, and that's where we are. Right? From me and the team, we'll see you on the next episode. Right? Peace. Sure.
Because I think it's very important in a marriage to be able to understand your capacity for each other, because you don't always have the capacity to take and take and take. Need to be and I think it's something that I've had to learn over the last year or so. Is just like making sure that I have consistency in other spaces outside of her, because I'm a lot. I'm a lot. And it's not easy. Yeah.